call this meeting to order at 7 p.m. April 5th, if we could do the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So in attendance, appointment of alternates, we are all here, including our alternates, so we are good to go. And it is number 4, public participation.
I'm scrubbing
I was gonna say. All right, so we'll move on. 5, budget workshop. A, police. 2.
Good evening, everyone, and as I said earlier, before some of you were here, I know it's gonna be a long night for you folks, so we'll do the PowerPoint, but I'll blow through it very fast. Amy, if you don't mind hitting the start presentation. Slideshow, yeah, and from the beginning, all the way to the left. There you go. And I think you gotta click got it. Cool. Okay, good evening. We're here to present our budget to you folks. So like I said, bear with me and we'll move through this as quickly as we can and still see some fun things going on. Okay. What's happening across the nation? Well, right now, across the nation, violent crime is at a 10-year high. Good news is some of the property crimes are down, motor vehicle thefts are high. The mental health issues are tending to plague all the bigger cities across the United States. And violent gun crime, as we all know recently, has really peaked. Considering recent events, and when I did this, Memphis, Tennessee was really at the forefront of the news. Unfortunately, we've had a lot of more other unfortunate news lately. But we all must understand that the police reform action that went into a place back in 2020 and the defund the police sentiment is not working. It's really not working. So when we think about our budget moving forward, we have to think about sort of things that we have in place and how we want to keep them in place moving forward. The East Windsor, locally, we enjoy a really good relationship with our community. We have over 17,000 followers on Facebook, and we have a lot of positive community engagement. This was last Halloween. One of our officers spent some time trick-or-treating. This was the circus event for the trunk or treat, where our police officers participated in that. The Stop a Cruiser, Shop with a Cop, and the Panther Plunge, which was just recently. As far as where we at with the crime statistics, most current data shows violent crime is down across the state of Connecticut and in East Windsor, which is good. Motor vehicle thefts are down, but property crimes are up, like larcenies and things like that. The good news is this is a really great place to live. It's a safe place to live and work. We do have unique needs, and that's why we have this budget, our public safety package before you that is meant to address those unique needs. A little piece of good news. What I talked about, defunding the police isn't working. What is working is becoming professional police agencies across the nation. Becoming an accredited agency is very important. And in November 4th of 2022, we became Tier 2 accredited. Now there's only 3 tiers in the state accreditation process. So we're just 1 tier away. And we hopefully when I'm standing in front of you next year, I'm going to say we're a Tier 3 accredited, fully accredited agency. So as I mentioned, our budget is not just a budget. It's not just a bunch of numbers on a piece of paper. What these numbers represent is how we're going to police your community. And that's the important part that most people don't really understand when it comes to the budget. It embodies our estimated expenditures on how we're going to police your community over the next fiscal year. It's going to be in parts of the budget. And I'm preaching to the choir, I get that, so bear with me. There's salary and operating expenses. And it's important to understand, like I mentioned earlier, that this budget embodies things that we put in place years ago. The SRO position, the mental health team, and our detective division to help address some of those special issues that I talked about in this community. So moving right along. We got the fancy curtains. Did you see that? He loves it.
I do love
Okay, and like I said, on the top part of our budget is the salaries, and the bottom part is the operating expenses. So, as usual, we have the commentaries in your packets, and you can follow along line by line. There are a little bit of discrepancies when I put this packet together to give to you folks months ago. There are some changes in this presentation versus what you have, very small, and I'll try to touch on them as we go through. And it's going to look something like this. So we'll start with our salaries. So in our police department, we have 26 full-time police officers, 10 full-time administrative people, that's dispatchers and clerical staff, and supervisory staff who are civilian, and 3 part-time employees, that's 2 ACOs, part-time, and 1 part-time social worker. So this is one of the lines that is a little bit different from what I gave you in the presentation. In the presentation I gave, or the packets I gave you, I show an increase of 2,587. That was an error on my part. I didn't realize, if some of you folks may remember, when we had the mental health officer resign, and our plan was to do something different, and at the last minute, we came before you and said, no, we want to hire a part-time social worker instead of having the full-time police officer social worker. And I was under the impression that that change went in after we made the request, but in fact, you approved the budget as is, and the change went into effect afterwards by line transfers. And that's that's a very, very small discrepancy in what was submitted to you from the first selectman's budget and what I submitted to you. And I would answer any questions if anybody had any. So the officer salary line, it went down 0.2%. That's mainly because of senior. We had at least 2, definitely 1, Sergeant Reimer retired, and he was at a higher sergeant's rate of pay. So his replacements are going to come in and they're going to be below him. So that reduces it a little bit. Plus, we're still in negotiations with the police union right now. So that would stay at a 0 as far as any salary increases. Dispatcher salary, this is again reflects a slight increase, and that's contractual, but it's smaller because we had more senior dispatchers move into police positions. Actually, we've hired 3 dispatchers became police officers, and their replacements will be coming in at a lower salary. The admin salary is a little bit in flux right now because of the chief retiring, so that's just kind of a placeholder as it is, with a very minor increase of 0.17%. And then this is a part-time salary that was moved from that clerical line after the budget was approved. So that is showing flat, but it does include a 2% increase because we have enough money in that line to give that 2% and not infringe. Overtime, this number has worked for us for the last few years, and I think it's a pretty solid number. Even though when you compare it to what our expenditures are right now, it seems a little low. That's because we were down 5 officers a few times in this last fiscal year due to medical leave. At one time, we had 3 officers out on medical leave at a time, and we are down one position right now, so, we're filling a lot of, those positions with overtime, unfortunately. And the salary line, I left it flat at 0%, no changes at all. And longevity decreased by a little bit for the same reasons, with the salaries stayed relatively the same, if not went down a little bit because of the retiring of senior officers. So that's our overall salary line increase we're asking for is just under $9,000 over the line, which is 0.24% of our salary line. Next is our operating expenses. We'll jump right in. The professional service line, I did ask for a slight increase in that line of $1,500. And the main reason is because of the unfunded state mandates that came in as a result of the Police Accountability Act. First of all, we have to send a certain number of officers each year to go for urine screening tests. We also have to send our officers to psychological testing as well. And that costs, as I flushed it out a little bit more in the commentary, we have to send about 20% of our staff, which is 5 to 6 people, at about $300 a piece, and that's where I came up with the 1,500 number. Prior to this, it was just eating into this line. The dog fund, this is kind of a placeholder for the dog fund, which is funded by the licensing of our dogs in the town. And I kept that the same. I kept our vehicle maintenance the same as well. Our fleet is looking pretty good. We're in good shape, and that dollar amount has worked for us for several years now, so I didn't see any reason to change it. The travel, same thing there. Mainly it's tolls, parking, when officers go to court outside of our area. But that amount has worked for us for many years. Supplies, I did opt to increase this by 2% just to try to increase it a little bit. Everything out there is costing more, it seems. It's taken longer to get, and prices are creeping up. So I took the opportunity just to bump up some of these lines, and you'll see a repeat in a couple other lines in a minute. Now, this line is the equipment line, where if we have any equipment needs. Last year, we asked for new pistols. That project has been completed and it is done. This year, we have a need, the Capital Region Emergency Services Unit, CREST, that's our SWAT team and crisis negotiators. They're updating their tactical teams, helmets and tactical vests, and they're doing it as a unit. So this price of $3,000, roughly $4,000, is going to be allocated to purchasing a new helmet and vest for our operator. And it's bought off of a group bid, so it's actually cheaper than they would be if we were to buy them on our own. Uniforms, this is another place where I figured to try to squeeze in just a little increase without causing too much hardship here. Just shy of $1,000 increase, which is 2% of that line. And same thing with dues and fees. Books are climbing up. Training costs are climbing up. We're being charged now for training classes at the police academy, where they used to be free years ago. Now they're costing us so much every time we send somebody there. So I just tried to eke it up a little bit, 2% increase. So on the ops side, it's a 0.59% increase on the operating side. So that's $1,313. So as you folks all know, but I like to put this in there for the people that are watching and maybe don't understand that the benefits packages for all our employees is housed in a different area of the town's budget. It isn't reflected in this budget. So overall, we're seeking a 0.26% overall budget increase for the East Windsor Police Department's next year's budget. So I would take any questions or comments or anything any of you folks would like.
And right now.
No, it's pretty straightforward.
Anything right now?
Straightforward me.
Good right now.
Want to go to the next one?
Sure. Police commission.
Police commission's the next one on our agenda. Do you have anybody here, but
I don't manage that or do really anything with it. I would,
he gets just the recording secretary and a few supplies. I'll tell you in a second. Yeah, they asked for $16.25 in recording secretary and $100 in supplies. And last year they spent $1,500 in recording secretary and $83.89 in supplies.
Use the stairs. Use the stairs. Come on up. Use the stairs.
Maybe use the stairs. Yeah. Thank you. Right, emergency management.
Jerry Garcia. Okay, this budget is pretty simple, it's pretty straightforward. As you can see, looking at it, line by line breakdown and go down, there's only one line that has any increases. And we'll get to that. The stipend, this includes the director of emergency management, the deputy director of emergency management, an operations person, and the secretary. And we kept it flat, 0% increase. And then this is the expense side. Start with the phone, that basically deals with the telephone in the EOC at 25 School Street. We kept that at 540. The communication line pays for the Everbridge suite, which is the town's notification system outside of the public safety answering point emergency notification system. This is something separate from that. The equipment maintenance line, I wanted a slight increase because this particular line funds the maintenance of our generators. And some of our generators, although we stay on them, they're serviced twice a year off of a maintenance agreement that we have. They do tend to need replacing of hoses, batteries, things like that. So I figured with just commodities being more expensive, we should probably have a little bit more in there. So that's the only real increase that I have in this budget. So that's going to be basically it's a 2% increase on the budget. And that $860 increase. But the good news is we have to remember the MPG grant reimburses the town. And our last reimbursement was $6,470.40 goes right to funding this program. Questions?
Calvin.
Communications?
Yep.
Okay. So communications lines, the first selectman's line, a town line. I was asked many years ago to manage this line. I think I've been managing it since maybe 2010. So I try to keep an eye on it to make sure it doesn't go in the red. So this year because our radio system is getting a little bit older, I took this opportunity just to increase it a slight bit, to have a little bit more money in if something went wrong and we needed to purchase a part. We're all working on moving towards getting a new radio system eventually, but we know that's probably not going to be in effect over the next fiscal year, so we need to plan accordingly. This next line is the amount of money that we pay for dispatch, Talon County, whenever somebody calls 911 to the public safety answering point, which is the police department. If it's a medical call or a fire call, we'll immediately transfer it to Talon County where they dispatch EMS and fire. And so for that, there's a fee. Now, it used to be a little bit, quite a bit higher, but now the fire departments, because they've kind of gone their own way as far as taxing, they take care of their part. So this small increase or the small amount last year, the $482 was actually the smallest it's ever been. And I can't explain exactly why it was so low, but this year they put it back to a pretty normal number. That's pretty much where it should be. And that's for our EMS calls, emergency medical services calls. So it does look like a large increase. In reality, over the history of this budget, it's not. So overall, the increase is 18%, but it's all pretty much has to do with that Talon County dispatch.
So I was a typo in our packet. Okay. In the, like, on this page, this is not right, so I'm just. He said it was $500.
Oh, because it was originally $500. And
Okay,
then the letter came in telling us it's a
Gotcha.
different amount.
That's correct.
gotcha, okay, thank you.
They're rescheduled, they're actually reformatting how they charge now. So now there's gonna be, it's gonna be based on the number of calls you do. So there's gonna be, the busier you are, the more it's gonna cost you. So, but it's going 1/3, 2/3, the flat fee. The flat fee being 2/3 still, and then the number of calls being only 1/3, and then it swaps to 2/3, 1/3, and then it goes 100%. So over the next 3 years, we'll see some number that will come up with, but that's where the 4,500 came from,
Yeah, my apologies. I
with the
should
new
clarify.
structure.
Questions? Other than,
Yeah, I just, which calls go through the Talon dispatch?
All fire and all of them.
yes, all EMS, which is basically medical calls. So the way it works is our dispatchers will take it. If the person says it's a medical and they decipher that based on the clues that they're getting, they do a transfer, but they stay on the line to get as much information as they can. They dispatch our officers because officers in the town are the medical first responders. So we'll have officers en route. Talon County now dispatches EMS and fire.
But Tom, to answer your question in terms of who's funded out of that line, that's just EMS.
Right.
The fire departments fund their own, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
$20-something thousand each fire department.
Anything?
No.
Thank you. Right.
I've stood in front of you folks for a lot of years, and I just want to thank you all for your volunteerism and your dedication to town. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks. Great, so we are on to broad fire. So I have it separate.
Yeah, they're their own sheet, because they're their own fine.
We're flanking.
My
bodyguards. That's it.
My
bodyguard.
My God. Where is it?
Good evening, everyone.
Hello. Are we all good?
Yep.
I don't.
You guys mostly know me, I'm Chief Fire Secretary. This is Chairman of the Fire Commission, John Madigan. Deputy Commissioner Nick Casada. We have a $12,000 increase over the whole budget. I'll go through it all line by line. Part-time salary is gonna go up $8,350. We're gonna give the guys a raise. We try to do it every other year, give them a raise. And there's 14 There's about 25 guys that will include. 14 of them are part-time staff from out of town, and the difference is the volunteers that work nights and some during the day. The 27th payroll. That was when we figured, I got the numbers from the treasurer's office, that's gonna go down a little bit for next year. Fire marshal stipend, we took 5,000 out of there, out of payroll. This is new to us, we've never had a budget up for the last couple of years, and we've been knocking it down every year. Just to try to keep it a little tighter. And the incentive is gonna go up, 5,000. We've been getting more calls. We did add a few bucks in there for a little different on training. You guys can do a lot more training off the, out of the firehouse, and like they're going to South Windsor next one for a weekend. There's like 12 of them going. Then the next one down will be the FICA, which goes with the part-time salary, the annuities. Department's gotten bigger over the last few years. So like everything else, the annuity goes up, which is if you've been in 10 years, you're vested in the fund. When you hit age 60, you collect it's a small retirement. Which is $5 every year you've been a member. So if you put 20 years, you get $200. Or 40 years, excuse me, you get $200. Workman's comp, we have no control, that's went up a little bit. Professional services, we took $500 out of there. Physical stayed the same. The phone bill, we switched carriers to FirstNet, which is it's more friendly to the fire service, so knocked our phone bill down for the course of the year, as opposed to AT&T. Fire marshal's phone, we took him out. We kept it the same. Vehicle maintenance, we took it down 5,000 because we were supposed to get a new truck this year. But due to global issues, it's not coming for another year. So it's not going to do till August of 24. So it's 840 days build time now for fire trucks. There's no building maintenance. Town dispatch, as you heard, police chief, his went up, ours went up $4,000. And like they said, they're doing it different way now. This year it's 2/3. It's 2/3 incidents. Excuse me, 2/3 population, 1/3 call volume. Next year it's going to be 2/3 call volume, 1/3 population, and then the last year will be all call volume. And they go with the previous year's numbers. So we had 820 calls last year. That's what they would set up by for this year. And that we don't know what that's going to be next year. It's life insurance, typical increase. Supplies, we took a few $1,000 out of there because our medical supplies have gone down a bit over the years because we've gone through the pandemic. So a lot of our we've been using so much medical equipment. What else you got? Gas and diesel, that's gone up. And the dues and fees, that's gone up almost $4,000 because our reporting system that we use got bought out for the third straight year. It's the third time we've had to go through this. And now we're using FirstNet, not FirstNet, it's First Due. And the price increase is $4,000 on top of the $4,000. So it's an $8,000 year we pay for reporting.
That's a mandate for the National Fire Incident Reporting System, so that allows a transmission to the National Fire Incident Reporting System.
So hopefully they won't get bought out because it's nothing we can do about that. Then they'll ask them the CIP, which is the same every year, 200,000. Which came out to a 1% increase, 12,739.
Given inflation at 9%, that's a pretty good deal, I think.
Any questions? Yeah, go ahead.
And this will be the last year for the CIP,
No.
200?
No, that's a fixed
Every year.
every year because there's continual replacements of the fire engines on a life cycle basis. And without that, you're gonna end up having a big number to chew all at once.
This new truck we bought 1.1 million. The next one's due in 6 years, 7 years. So by then it'll probably be 1.4, 1.5 million. So,
And that goes into a fund in the town side. If you look at the CIP reports I give you guys every month, the line in there for fire vehicles is in there. So it gets spent out of here, but then gets sent over there. So right now it's just building up towards that deposit on that truck.
Which is
when it shows up.
$100,000 over the year payment.
Right, and we haven't raised CIP in the 3 years we've had the budget, so.
We were hoping that, we're not gonna have to, it's $200,000, we'll never have to come back to ask, to raise the taxes to do that, so we're hoping it's just gonna be take care of itself through the years.
So the next truck that you replace is how old now?
It's 2008, so 2028,
15.
another 7 or 8, 10 years. But like I said, it's gonna be 1,000 days before you, so we're gonna start, once this new truck gets in service, we're gonna start the committee. Cause it's not like ordering a town, there's a 400-page specification sheet that they give you, have to go through to check everything off, so it takes quite a while. So it'll take us probably 4 or 5 years to even get it to the order point, and then it's gonna take you another 2 or 3 years to get the truck, so it's a very slow process.
Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Here means nothing. It's more. Yeah, no question. All right, no problem. Like,
Are you, putting our spreadsheet up there?
Yeah, I'm okay now.
Thanks.
All right. Rid of this. And so Amy handed out.
Hey, are you still in PowerPoint? Yes.
Amy handed out some new paperwork, more updated from Bermuda.
The only thing different,
You gotta make the screen bigger.
well, you can't read that?
I can read that. I don't mind.
We
got a
that
fire
alarm going on. I have an extra one. Oh, I did not.
The one I gave you just gave the 3 levels. So if there was a question about what's in the book as department level versus what Jay put forward versus what the Board of Selectmen did, that's the one I gave you today.
Yeah,
The municipal report. That just shows you the 3 different tiers in case somebody had a question tied to the tiers.
this one.
But it matches this. Everything on this screen is the same thing.
Yeah.
What you need.
Yes.
Read order.
Yeah.
Because I already have the building one, I wanna keep.
Ask a question.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm
So
trying to.
the salary report, Amy, that we got for the registrars.
Yep.
So where did we end up getting the info for?
Okay, so I went out to CPM for their salary
Yep.
survey. I took all registered salaries for towns between 8,000 and 15,000 populations. And that's what came back.
Yep.
And then I called
Oh,
or
okay.
looked online.
Okay.
If it called, it has a name. If it says online, I got it off their website.
Oh, okay, perfect.
But the Burlington one, when I called them, I said, wow, you guys are pretty high. And she said, no, we're not. That's the sum of 2 people.
Okay.
So everybody else only put the one person, everybody has 2, because everybody has a Republican and a Democrat. But every other town only put
One.
one, the equivalent of what they're actually paying one of those 2 people. Burlington did not, and East Windsor put nothing, so we're the very first one with nothing in it.
Well, you know,
You're doing it for free.
But the hours are what people gave us for either their best guess. Nobody really tracks time because they're all elected,
right.
so nobody fills out a timesheet. I guess with the exception of maybe the ones that are by the hour on the very front side, Windsor Locks and these 2 are hourly.
Okay.
All right,
Thank you.
Yep.
so we'll start with the selectmen, we'll go right along to the budget. Follow it through, go to Board of Ed, see how far we get tonight.
Can I chime in where the changes need to happen?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
That is as big as I can get it, and still have out years on there. You guys want me to collapse 22, 23? I can do that.
Oh, it's okay.
No, I think that's fine.
See this?
All right. I think everybody's done this before, right? All right, okay. So, let's just review. If you have any suggestions, if there's additions, if the people are here to participate and you have questions, make sure you do that. I'm gonna make one suggestion. If you want to add, you better find somewhere to subtract. So. All right. Did you want to make changes in the selectmen, Amy?
Nope. My first change is your budget.
All right, now, Jason did ask for 2,000 to be added.
I need that in non-negotiated wages.
So as we're going down, if we add it, remember you gotta find it somewhere. What does Steve?
No, it's
Oh.
good me trying to think of a question. Can I just, so where are we right now with our mill rate
If we
and?
go to, it depends, so on this page, you'll
I know where I'm
see
starting.
up. Farther up, we are proposing $1.2 million coming out of fund balance
Okay.
versus the $750 we've been doing for the last couple of years. But right now, with the change in the BAA for the grand list, we are at, I think, 0.12 mils.
Okay.
Keep it down a little bit. Yeah, we go from 34.38 to 34.5, which is a 0.12 mil rate change, which is 0.34%. Currently, as we stand with these budgets at 44,505,992.
Okay, and remind me, what's the impact, the taxpayer on that?
0.12 mils.
Right, but like, so, okay. I'm good.
So 12 cents on every 1,000.
That's what I think you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
About 25 bucks.
Thank you.
Any questions for Jason? Any additions, any subtracting? No. All right, so as we go through each section,
Do you want to approve them as you go? Or
we
no?
should, yeah. It will happen quicker. Mhm.
Some we approved selectmen at $295,832.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Ethics. Right,
Yep, I think here's your next one.
ethics, there's no changes.
Make a motion to approve the exits, yeah. At 750.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Diversity Council. There are some changes.
Yes. This current year, they only had reporting secretary. They are asking for $3,000 towards the Whitstone program that they want to do for the school. But this is only half of the price, I think,
And,
and they're gonna fundraise the other half.
and,
Is that?
yeah, well, my issue is with that is that you're still in discussions, right? Because you found out that it has a cost too?
Correct. I mean, so I can tell you, we've participated in conversations. The project does have value, it does align with the curriculum. I'd be lying to say we don't have concerns with the cost, and we haven't had those discussions. So we've reached out to have further discuss it on the cost, but we haven't even entered into those discussions as far as a plan.
I don't know, my problem is putting something in the budget that we're not even halfway there yet with an answer. I mean, so if they get there, come back and see me, is my opinion.
I would support that. You agree with that one? I think I'd like to talk about something that's not. I mean, do they have other programs besides that, even some, or is that for that one program?
Yeah, I think I got a lot.
They had lots of other programs they want to do, but this one was specifically for that half of the project.
Right, that's what I thought.
And the rest of the stuff they were planning on fundraising or granting or.
Could they invert that so that the things they had been planning to fundraise for, they would use the appropriation and then fundraise on the opposite side? Alternatively, I'd like to count this as my $2,000.
Then you should be quiet.
I'm just laying down a marker.
Yeah. I mean, you go with what's presented. Is my opinion, you go with what's presented. She presented fundraising for the other and 3,000 for Whitstone. So that's what was presented. So, and like I said, if it's something that comes to fruition,
What's that?
then we follow through it. She has to see it,
I'd love to see that.
right? Okay,
So we have 900, right?
yeah.
I'll make a motion to, amend the diversity council, I guess, to $900.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. All right, next is Arts and Culture Commission,
I really feel like they're doing a lot. I would just say,
and
the presentation I found very thorough as well.
And they're
and
asking
they're
for the same
flatline, they're
change.
asking for the
Yeah.
same, they're asking
Yeah.
to. Is there a motion?
Will we approve Arts and Culture Commission at $4,900?
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Amy. Next is Board of Finance, and if you add to us, you have to find this.
Okay.
Do it.
Your audit needs to be 58,500, because I got one RFP and that's the price. And no, I don't have a redemption for you. All mine are going the wrong direction.
So we need to.
So wait, I gotta keep track.
Yeah.
Okay.
These guys will at their April meeting. You guys, I don't think you guys ever approve the audit. These guys do. They accept it.
What? It's a contract, we need to do it.
We don't have a contract, but
Really? We don't have a contract with an auditor?
no,
How is that not a finding?
I don't know.
On the town side.
So we
You
can-
guys don't have a contract.
Added 10,000. Do we take it? Remember, we don't.
Friendly fire.
I thought it for us, two for him. Well, we haven't done it yet, but we're on it. So, yeah, okay, so yeah, you're right, all right, just keep it at 8,000.
8,500 is my increase.
I got you. No, yeah, that's Bill and I.
So we have to motion to change the audit line, correct?
Yep,
So how will we change the audit line to $58,500 through the contract? For RFP, wherever.
Let's suck it up.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
58.5, right?
yes.
Yeah. Changes.
66, 525.
And then I'll move we approve the Board of Finance at the dollar amount of $66,525.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Right, so passed.
Thank you.
Motion.
Just to be clear, that motion was unanimous, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you had some tricklers after the call for the nose.
Happens all the time.
That was like,
All right, so now we're on to assessor, correct?
Yeah.
Watch there. Some will be approved, the assessors department at $213,191.
Is there a second? Oh, okay. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. All right, Board of Assessment, one. One down.
Yeah, we did less for the professional services.
Yeah.
There will be a rebound next year, so.
Their motion for Board of Assessment at $2,800.
I'll make a motion to approve the Board of Assessment at $2,800.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Yes. So not that I want to add anything, but if next year is the reval year, is there enough in that to cover that if there's gonna be?
Oh, that would come out of the reval price. That won't come out of.
No, I'm talking if they have to have more meetings or whatever.
Hearings.
That's professional service, isn't their recording secretary? Oh, yes, it is, 2,500. Yeah, that should be enough. They only had 3 this year.
Okay. All right. I just- Question.
So Bill, keep in mind that once the reval notices go out, the first step of that is the informal hearing process through the reval company.
Mhm.
That clears out a number of the appeals that are likely to be filed.
Okay.
And that's all part of the cost of the reval.
That's in the bid.
So I have Nicole and Tom L. But did we do a vote?
Yeah, not worried.
Not yet, we were discussing,
Okay.
but now we're gonna. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Now we're on to tax collector. Which is 2.58% increase.
The big one was in the printing and binding.
That's really not though, that's just moving, that's just recoding things back to the lines. There was a change in the way the vendor
Okay.
assigned the costs.
Yeah.
So it's a $300 difference between last year for those same services.
All right, I'll move we approve tax collector at 145,989.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Just one question, and I know we probably asked this, but I forgot. So the full-time salary line, just the department had asked for the 129 and it, why did it go? I think you might adjust actually.
She didn't do her raise correctly.
Okay,
So
okay,
it's her with a raise, her assistant without a raise, because clerical is still out of contract.
okay,
Hopefully by the time we are done with this process, we will have actual numbers, but.
Okay.
If not, we will be here next year asking you guys to move it all over the place.
okay. Thank you. That was.
And do some things. Remember why?
I expect a potential ratification on that contract either at the April 20th Board of Selectmen meeting or whatever the first one is in May.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Treasurer.
The bulk of mine is the payroll services. That's just the number of bodies we have.
So I'll move we approve, unless you want to.
That's the downside of hiring part-time people. It can cost to everybody, whether they're full-time or part-time.
So I'm moving to approve the treasurer's department at $269,056.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Capital Improvement Committee, simple.
That's my next one that needs an increase.
Oh.
We're already out of money and we have a meeting in June. So we need to increase it to $875 to add one more meeting.
Oh, you're a pretty good secretary.
So it's just one line is gonna come in special. I move we approve the capital improvement committee recording secretary and move it to $875.
Second that.
Any more discussions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. All right, we're into legal, which is flat, no change. We have a motion on that
Yeah,
one,
just
or-
gotta make sure I flip this the right way.
I know.
There we go. Oop, yeah, there it is. So I'll move we approve legal and $280,000.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes. All right, so it's activity and fees, but this is one we usually kind of go through just really quickly separately. We don't have to approve them separately, but we just have to make sure we're on the same line with all of them. So you have probate, which has gone down, right?
Yeah.
North Central,
Basically flat, yeah.
recognize, recognition, recognize. 0, CCM, same, right?
Yeah.
Prague, yeah, with that. Memorial Day flags stay the same, Metro Hartford, down a little bit. Transit District. Up a little bit. Cemeteries. 25 last year, asked for 50 this year. Jake, selecting 30,000.
No, I did.
I said selection. Oh,
I
well,
did, not
you,
the-
sorry, first select.
Yeah, I mean, I think they come asking for more every year, so I'm supportive of doing something. I definitely don't think we should do the 50 right now, but I think at least if we move the needle slightly.
Well, I wouldn't go higher than what Jason made
Yeah.
at the 30, but also we discussed the fact that what they talk about all the time doing is their roads. Which is a capital, and they never go to the cap. You know, they never go and ask for CapEx dollars, of which they could be doing. And that's their main push for their increase is. For the roads and. Something else, there was roads, but.
Trees.
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 yeah.
Trees and feathers.
Yeah, trees and 200 capital.
No, No. so it would be the trees would not be, but the roads really would. So,
Jay, would they qualify for any grant money or anything for any of that stuff?
There is a cemetery maintenance grant that just came across my radar screen a couple weeks ago, but I honestly didn't look at the details of it. It's the first time I've seen something like that. I can't even tell you what agency administered it. If I'm guessing, I would say it's Steve, but I'm guessing. Is it?
I couldn't remember.
Actually, Samuel, you might have sent it. I fit it thoroughly.
burying himself on that.
So that might be an option for them, right?
Yes. It was basically about the cemeteries not being maintained. Like, they're the last on the list, unfortunately. What it boils down there.
And that's where they'll find up with the CIP is it that too.
But if they don't start it, they're never
Right, they don't
gonna,
start the
if
project.
you don't do it, you're not gonna get it. If you don't have a plan and you don't prioritize what you need in the cap. Next world, it ain't gonna happen,
You gotta start there.
right? You gotta start something. Have a plan. All right, so then,
Are we dropping them down or?
That is up to you guys.
Can we? Honestly, so I'm just keeping track, so we're right now up $2,925 started.
Good, are you keeping track?
Yeah,
Did you put Jason's 2,000 in there yet? Cause we really haven't. changed
no, I
that.
didn't, that didn't.
Okay.
56.25.
Thank you, Nicole, 'cause I lost, I have it written, but I have not been subtracting it. So you have what?
In and out.
You have in and out?
Nice. So I'm just thinking,
We'll figure it out.
Okay, we will figure it out.
I'm just thinking because this line always gives us some discussion. Maybe we can come back to this one.
You can, absolutely. You don't have to, we will leave that aside. You don't have to make a motion to pass that one, so you can put activities and fees aside if you want for now.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'd
You
like.
all want to do that just for now?
Like the,
You could.
I think we did last year, actually.
Well, yeah, we will get to it by the end of this thing, but she just wants to finish the rest of it.
Can we do the rest of it and then hold that?
Yeah, absolutely. The next is health and wellness. I don't know. 4702, I know.
So they're going up, $1,500, which is 32%, but for some reason, every other year, their holiday piece of it is much higher. So if you go back over the trends of the 3 years, they go 6,200, 4,300, 5,800, 4,700. So they're asking for 6,225 this year. So it's the high side of their request. But they do everything for us for that set fee. They don't come back looking for more, like based on what services they've given.
All right. Next is for town fair. And refresh my memory again, why we went from 1,000 to 4,000?
That was
Yeah,
our
that's two.
request, although Amy and I couldn't, well, I'm gonna speak for me, I couldn't find anything in writing that actually substantiated that as their request. And the history on that is that one of the 4 towns that participates doesn't fund them or has a history of having not funded them under their previous leadership. So they, as a means of kind of making up the difference, they'd asked the other 3 towns to do a bit more than we typically had asked for, or had asked for. And I think they actually made that request the year that we were the host, we just kept it in.
We're not the host.
That's true.
All right, let's start that one. All right, domestic violence is status quo, American Heritage status quo. Melrose status quo, and Connecticut Main Street is on. All right. So the 2 stars are cemetery and 4 town fair. Ready to move on to information technology and then get back to that? Okay. All right, so are we not adding somewhere here?
15,000.
To the
Boy, that's it in,
purchase
Mr.
service
Meckham.
line. So it goes from 39,444 to
Oh, yeah.
54,444.
Right, so I move we approve purchase services under information technology to $54,444.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Wait a minute, what happened?
You were something.
Okay, opposed? All right, motion passes. All right, town clerk.
Oh, we got to do the totals?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
sorry.
So it's,
See you.
oh, that's it.
325,
Yep.
544.
So I move we approve information technology at 325, 544.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Town clerk.
Well, we approve town clerk at 154, 743.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Okay. Here we go, register of the voters.
So, okay, that's where we are now.
That is where we are.
All right, I wrote something down somewhere, what is that, right? Oh, I wrote on. So, okay. This is from the fiscal 22-23. So we have them. 16,144.5 per person, so that's right between the top two towns.
Except the top one isn't really the top one. because
Well,
that
right,
one's
well,
divided
yeah,
by
I was talking about these
Yeah.
two, I can't tell, what is it, Weston and something, but. It looks like. That town works approximately 9 hours a week, and then the other top town is 5 to 10.
Yep.
And then Stafford is 8 hours a week, and then we fall in line more with. Everywhere else it's 4, and they're all. They're less than 13,000, right?
Yep.
So. Even assuming that they go up on their. Salary lines this fiscal year, I still think that where we are is on the higher side.
You're talking the 32,935.
But yeah, 30 to 39.
It's
Yeah, we actually are.
32,935. 289 last year.
Doesn't end up in
Oh,
hours,
sorry,
you
yeah, but they're
divide
asking
it
for
up.
42 something now.
So sheet, isn't it? All the time you're emailing.
It didn't end up in hours, you divide it up.
Yeah, it works out, if you take the 4 hours over the 16,000, it's $77 an hour.
My.
So, but if you looked at that chart, even if they went to 8. Where the rest of the 15 and $16,000 people are, they're still within the range there on the high side. Even if they worked 8 hours a week.
Right.
And I never got anything. I know Angelo promised or said there was some kind of something he had to
That
roll back,
thing we asked, that row back.
but he never sent it to me. And I did email and ask again for it, but I got this off
Well,
CCM.
CCM, we get.
Yeah.
And remind me again, so that's for their hours in office, like yesterday. Did
They got paid,
They get paid. the
they got paid
stipend.
$525 for yesterday, each of them. Anything that's not an election,
Yeah.
referendum, primaries, they get an additional pay on top of the stipend you get.
That's long standing, it's been that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's long-standing, but I don't think the rate has been set at 525 as a long-standing number.
No, I think as a matter of fact, when we paid the primary in the summer, I think it was 500. I think the 525 is a new number. I think everybody went up on this last, the one we just did. I think the prices for everybody were higher.
I will say that I do think that the full day workers, I'm okay with that. It's a very long day and what they were getting paid was like nothing. So that I feel comfortable with personally.
Well, part of the increase in the election worker line is because they now have 2 districts in each
Right,
polling place.
yep, I remember they
So we have to
explained that.
pay more people. So even if they're paying them more, they're also paying more people
Right.
to be doing it. And not necessarily residents because they're having trouble getting enough residents.
But that only affects the state election. Right?
Nope. With fire district,
First primary, or first budget vote.
So
Public vote, it's no district, right?
no,
There is,
some of that,
because of the split with the broader fire department.
somewhere in each district.
Like understand.
And if there were a state level primary, that would be split too, if it was a legislative house.
Right, well, that, I didn't say that, I forgot about, yeah. Well,
So I think they're budgeting for 3 budget votes. That's part of the 6 in total. How often have we had to go to 3 referendums.
A lot.
Awful lot, but. In the last 4 years, we've been one, well, we'll see what happens this year, but we've been 1 and out. But prior to that, for a long time. it was
Every
three.
year was 3.
Yeah.
And it's a
Excel
it's a
spreadsheet.
retail year,
Yeah.
so sure, people are gonna be unhappy next year anyhow.
Yeah.
So I think we have a good shot at meeting it.
Okay.
No,
But they are currently in here. The selectmen only put them forward at Jay's suggestion of 2%.
Which is the 32,935. right?
Yes.
All the Nicole. Saying that's.
And
On
it's,
the high side.
it's still on the high side, yeah, but
It's still not,
I mean, we can't,
I just saw there.
even if they work double hours, it's still pretty high.
Yeah. That's right. Let's say start at 8. There it is. There's right there.
Yeah, they had asked for 45,950 according to that spreadsheet.
yeah, that's why.
So are you saying you're okay with that number?
What, a 32? No,
The 45,
no.
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 She's not.
Oh, are you talking about for the election workers?
yeah,
Yeah, he's talking about the election workers.
The election workers are at 36.
Which I think is fine.
Yeah,
If for some reason we really get stuck where we need money, we can do a transfer later. Versus budgeting for every single thing that could go wrong.
Yeah.
You won't necessarily have primaries on all sides,
Right.
won't necessarily have.
I think the 36,750, I'm okay with. We just,
Are we gonna vote for people? Like we were at 8,500 and then it was.
yeah, it's,
Remember what I think?
this is just.
I'm just trying to think.
Well, they asked for 10.
Yep.
And Jay cut it back to 8,500, but they sold the board of selectmen on that they wanted 10. Do you remember what for?
I don't recall.
I don't either. I need to find it.
On their printing and binding, I mean, so far they've only spent 5,600.
I know, that's the thing. Too.
What do we look,
But they did have 1 year that they spent 9,400.
How often?
2021.
I want to order voting.
That's the last year.
Media.
What,
So that
We got
600,
split voting.
if the printing and binding is for ballots, that number is likely to have changed after yesterday and. You're gonna have at least 1, if not 3 more in
Yeah.
May and June.
Stickers.
What about the stickers, maybe?
They talk about the split,
Right here.
They talked about needing different media cards because of the split district.
districts, yeah.
Moderator cards.
so. I don't know, just back to the registrar salary for a moment.
Yep.
So with even the board of selectmen's or Jason's. 32,935, that still puts them at 16,000, like 460, we'll say 468, which is higher. Than anyone. And again, these ones are working 9 hours a week, and then the other towns like 5 to 10, so. I don't know, I'm honestly comfortable leaving them at the 32,289.
So we do typically do the 2% increase to anybody who's an at-will employee or a non-bargaining unit employee.
Problem is as you look at a lot of these things. We're ending up to, at a lot of them, we're ending up to, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but a very good paying town. And we're still not a very big town. I'm not saying change it, I'm just saying, as we pull more of these figures. I just don't think, and thank God, because years ago we were not, remember, we had a really bad reputation, but. Now looking at all these figures, it's like, at least we got there. But I get what you're saying. Up to you, what you want to- you can try and then they can nix you.
I don't wanna get robbed.
Up to you now.
I'm going to approve the register of voters grants. So here,
You want to do 88,785?
88,785, yes.
All right, is there a second? Any more discussion?
I'll second.
Oh, yeah. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Give it an eye.
Yep, opposed.
Okay, sorry, not unanimous.
Fine.
I did.
Motion.
I
Aye.
Yeah.
4-1, did I see 4-1?
Yep.
Who was the no?
Tom? Okay, yes. All right. We're on to poll.
So we approved the planning department, there was no change, we leave at 275, 460.
Second, yeah.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Who was the second?
James.
Tom Keats.
All right, planning and zoning commission.
I'm going to approve planning and zoning commission at 5,000. Yeah,
There a second?
Second.
All those in favor, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. All right, zoning appeals.
will we approve zoning appeals board at $2,150?
Second, all right, discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Property insurance.
Is that everything still good?
Yeah.
Yes, the increase is due to our cyber policy.
So will we approve property insurance at $191,500?
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Inland wetlands.
I will be approved inland wetlands at $2,325.
Second, all right, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Veterans Commission, increase for one extra meeting, if I remember correctly.
No, he changed, instead of getting $75 a meeting, he changed to
Oh, the
125.
increase of 125, which is everybody, yeah, everybody else.
Yeah, that's
So
makes
it's
sense.
only fair.
Well, no, we had tiered it out based on, meeting length and complexity of minutes and all that. But, Chairman Barton actually did make an argument about what their reporting secretary does, separate apart from what most others do. That's why I was changed.
So I will be approved veterans commission at $1,375.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Agriculture Commission. Same.
I will be approved agriculture commission at $750.
Second. All right, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Conservation Commission.
I will be approved conservation commission at $825.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Economic Development.
I will be approved economic development commission at $1,800.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We can back it up. Please.
Same for same.
Okay, but still. I think there's another line on this page.
I'm gonna approve, move to approve police department at $3,885,060.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? It's a 0.2% increase. 0.2. Yes.
There's a second.
Yeah. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes.
I will be approve the police commission at $1,725.
And Did they add a meeting? Is that what?
No change.
Just looking at.
Oh, I'm looking at the wrong line. Thank you, sorry.
Yeah, I know, you're looking at actuals. That's, yeah. Why is he not here? Oh, no, this is mine.
Nice.
All right, is there a second?
So second, sure.
All right, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes. Now we are on to emergency management. 2.1% increase. Is there a motion?
Yep, I'll move we approve emergency management at $41,908.
Second. All right, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. All right, we're on to building. All right, I. So things have definitely changed here.
For the better. Honestly, I mean, there's like, look, I'm not taking anything, there's proactivity going on.
I just said there's big change. Don't you think?
Change is good, right?
So. All right, so he asked for 20,000 in his professional services. Jason brought him down to 15,000. So what do we have in professional services?
10.
We had 10 this year.
We had 10 this year, and we've spent 8 so far, right? 877,655.
That was last year. We spent 3866, but we reclassed a bunch of it.
Yep.
To salary and to other supplies. So he's almost fully spent in his professional service.
Okay. Supplies. What was his explanation of why supplies went up? Does anybody remember?
That's what I was just thinking.
I will tell you the whole car wash thing though. We have a town garage. And you can wash your car.
He has a big long list in your section, if you went into your section
Yep.
3.
What tab is it under?
3.
He's behind the police department. He's on the back side of that,
Okay. So I believe it in there.
Yeah, car wash fee.
yeah, so he has 500 for car wash fees, he has 500 for tools and supplies. He has $1,500 for apparel. He has $500 for legal forms.
What's the apparel? A winter coat.
So he has listed out $3,000 in supplies.
That says apparel, winter coat. I get safety here. But it says winter coat. Like. Have we ever brought in winter coats? Like, I know for these guys, but I'm talking. You're not saying anything, so that's a no.
So that totals, even if you left them all in there, that totals $3,000 in the supplies. The 500, the 500, the 1,500, and the 500.
I'm not paying. I'm sorry.
And then the programs, the field wire, the $600, we moved to IT. So then in his education and dues, it looks like he would have $2,900.
So
I guess
field
his
wires.
it was moved to IT. It's a software
Yep,
that he can
that he
edit.
uses on.
He can edit his plans while he's at the site.
Yeah.
So even if you took the 3,000 for supplies and then added the advertising to it, you would have 3,200 in that line. And 2,900 in the dues and fees, according to his details.
Okay, so supplies.
Say that one more time, man.
Supplies, it's only adding up to 3,200 versus the 3,700.
Right, if you looked at his detail in his report, He gave you 500 for car washes, 500 for tools and supplies, 1,500 for apparel, and 500 for legal forms. And then there's $200 for advertising. So if you add all of those 5 things up, it's $3,200.
And
Not
then
the
the other,
3,700 that's in here.
right, and then there's 2,900 for listed for the dues and.
Yeah, for his
fees, but-
conferences and then his official online codes total 2,900.
But it's asking.
So why is it at 3,350?
Right,
Okay, never mind.
So, my colleague over here has pointed out that Sophie Noble has a, monthly membership that's $30 a month. That would be less than the 500 budgeted for. But it still allows the. I'm just throwing. it out
Really? There's a town garage. It's not a garage. So none of his totals add up though either. Yeah, that's a problem.
so that, well, I mean.
So it's
15
also
months.
his first budget cycle.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's still getting acclimated to.
But I think we have to go by the totals that are described, right?
No, you're in some-
I think you gotta go by this. Not by this. The described total. Not what's put in here, because this is what he wants at the 3,200 and the 2,900. 3,700 and the 3,350. Those are wrong numbers.
So that would put him, or the building at 198.
Well, if you're gonna change the lines, then we gotta change each line. To the correct number that he has described here.
Okay, so can I make a motion to change the supply line to 3,200?
Needs to go less.
Okay, is there a second? Great, yeah, so, okay. Let's try again. Bill says it needs to go less, so.
Well, make the supply line I'll move to make the building official supply line $2,000.
What are you losing for that? I don't want him to lose legal forms and stuff
He's
like
not
that,
gonna
where
lose
you
legal
get,
And where are you taking the money from?
He had payroll, I'm taking a little bit from his car wash fee, all of his car wash fees. There was that one, there was legal fees of $4,500 over here. Program was different, so his legal form was 500 were in there. I gave him $500 for his tools. And I gave him $1,000 for his safety gear and whatever else. I know if I did that right, it was $2,000. I love your own land property.
yeah.
Amy, do they have the revised form in their book or do they have the original?
No, I think they have the revised,
The 12023?
125, 23.
Mine's
I have.
Mine's 120.
120.
So, yeah, but I think it says the same thing. Expense detail says 5 and it lists 4 things.
1, 2,
And then it says dues and fees and it lists the
Mhm.
programs, the conferences, the online codes. I think they have the right one. We originally had one that they were all over the place. One line, one item was supplies, the next one was dues and fees, the next one was something else. So it was very hard to tell how much totaled it.
No, conferences are separate.
Yeah. So this is the right one. This is the most up to date one.
Hey, what's listed there is 500, 500.
Yeah.
Currently is 1,500 and 1,200.
So
Are the two
something
numbers.
is a, what you listed here comes to 3,000, well, yeah, right,
Mhm.
so I took 1,000 away.
It comes to 3,200.
Where's the two?
The 200 is down on
down
the
at the
bottom
bottom
for
for JA.
advertising.
Advertising, so it does come to 3,200. You're like 2,200.
Make it, so,
There's a motion on the floor to put supplies at 2,200. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Everybody answer? Between the but up and then the. Yeah, I think we're good.
So supply
Did you get that?
2200.
22.
Okay, you got all the eyes? Any clue when anybody's saying? All right, and dues and fees. You guys added, Nicole added up and said it came to 2,900, not the 3,350 that is put on the paper. On the spreadsheet, sorry, yeah. Okay.
So I'll make a
So,
motion
32.
to change dues and fees to 2,900.
okay, was there a second?
Sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
2,900,
2,900.
changing it to the addition on the paper he described.
I'll second.
Okay, any more discussion?
Thanks, Rose.
Any discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
You said opposed, you asked discussion and you said opposed.
Okay, so all those in favor?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yes, I'm gonna read it.
Okay, no opposed. Okay, motion passes. All right, so now we do need a motion for the total for that department.
And the total is.
Just like
197, 339.
that's what I got. Great. I'll make a motion to approve building at 197, 339.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All right, all those in favor?
So, Amy, we took the steel wire out of that budget, right?
Yep, and added it to Joe's software,
Oh, motion passes.
your regular software and IT. It has it in it. It actually has two.
Yeah, we're up to the
Silence is consent.
Yeah,
I know, right?
I added two, his and Ruth's, to your IT line when we first did the budget.
So next year, will their price increase or it stays the same forever?
They said it stays the same.
All right, so we're on,
197, 339, right?
Yes.
we're on the communications. You're keeping track in and out of it, right? Yeah.
To keep it in track on that.
I'm not, last weekend going, so.
All right, communications. Which. I'm not really.
I'm moving through communications at $26,645.
Second,
I'll say.
any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. On the public works.
So we had a change here.
Yeah, 10,000.
Yeah, going from the 1,016,732 to 1,006,421. 421.
Joe gets credit for this 10,000.
Yep.
Amy gets credit for this 10,000?
Well, yeah, but I mean, in terms of asking for stuff, this is good.
Got it. All right, so does somebody want to make a motion to change full-time salary to the 1,006,732?
I'm moving through full-time salary for public works at $1,006,421.
What?
That's right.
No, 732.
No, it's 1,006,421. It was 10,311
Okay.
was the number Lynn gave us the other night.
All right. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Well, there you-
Now, his other request,
Yep.
his other request
Ain't
was
happening.
to move,
Ain't happening.
was to move $10,000 to his part-time line to make it go from 13,500 to 23,500.
Ain't happening.
Okay, hold on, so, okay.
Once
So
you-
just making sure,
Entertain,
full-time is
doesn't work that way.
1,007, okay, got it.
Know that means.
How much you added?
Director, deputy director, have to put it back at the parks.
Can we pause on the part-time salary line for a moment?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that was, I mean, just, it was a typo, right? That was the issue they said.
For what?
What happened really was we reduced it this year to get that extra guy in.
Right.
That the Board of Ed paid half for.
Okay,
So if you look at where they've been in the past, but they've been having trouble filling it. So even though their budget for 22, 23 was originally 28,500. if you look at what they've spent, 10, 11, 13, 8,
Okay,
so. But that's why it went down, because we made a conscious decision to take some of that money to be able to get a full-time guy.
Give it back to me, I'll watch the car.
sorry, Lenny. Good. That's $500.
Yeah, back.
They already updated the IT line, so.
Cyber's not important.
Didn't really get that, the cybersecurity guy got that, but yeah.
Okay. So we're saying though that the part-time salary that we don't have those positions filled?
Well, he'd like them, he'd like to be able to fill them for summertime, right?
Leave it, move on, seriously.
I'm moving
You gave
through,
me a full-time person, move on.
I'm moving through public works at $1,171,586.
Don't tell them I said that.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so that we just went, yeah.
I was.
Opposed? All right, motion passes. Now you're on to town properties. Which is 4.09%, mostly carried in vehicle maintenance. Hydrants,
Yeah.
Yeah, mostly hydrants,
I just got second.
and that's
They
because
always
this year's
get that.
even low.
and custodial services.
No, maintenance.
And then oil and heat. Make an increase of $48,909.
I'll move to approve town properties at $1,243,352.
Is there a
Second.
second? All right, any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes. Road improvements.
I'll move to approve road improvements at $430,000.
Is there a second?
Second,
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Building committee recording secretary.
I'll move to approve building committee at $1,500.
Second,
Second.
discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Sanitation.
I'll move to approve sanitation at $1,117,067.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. What is-
Senior services is next.
Okay. I was gonna say, but no, I haven't. Right, so seniors services has a 1.56% increase. Really. All contractual.
So I'll move to approve senior services at $260,044.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. And then it's elderly commission.
I'll move to approve elderly commission at $750.
For a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. All right, social services, everything pretty much contractual, and then of course, the assistance line because of where we are this year.
Well, we only went up to 17,000, just trying to get a bump. Obviously not nearly that 80-something thousand in transfers I've done so far this year, but. We're just trying to move it there slowly.
We do have an update on that. Our longest term tenant is, has been put on notice. They've got 30 days to find other accommodations. That just was approved by, our probate judge and excuse me, and, council's representing, the conservative person and the estate, I think, this week. So that's our biggest ticket one is coming off the books.
All right, so for social services, is there a motion?
I'll move we approve social services at $183,474.
I'll second that.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next is library, Broadbrook stayed. What?
Yeah.
Warehouse Point is looking for 3.42%.
They actually asked for more than that.
Yep.
They asked for 315 and Jason cut it to 310 and that's what got put forward to you.
Making a total of 335, with an increase of $10,250.
3.42%.
I'll move we approve libraries at $335,000.
I'll
Is there-
second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. All right, recreation. Okay.
We approve parks and recreation at $340,242.
Second.
All right, discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Historical Commission Reporting Secretary, pretty much all it is.
I'll move we approve historical commission for $750.
Second,
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. You guys wanna, I don't care. Anybody need a break? Wait. Go on to board event. I don't wanna keep them any longer. Wow,
I do.
you need a break.
yeah, we can
Oh, like,
break, so
all right, how about a motion for 10-minute break?
budget's for a 10-minute break.
So moved.
All right, we're going on 10 minutes. What time is that? Can you look at that?
8:57.
All right. They have 37. Thank you. George would like to quickly go back to activities and fees, and that there, tighten up.
Okay.
All right. So he would like to go to the cemetery line. All right, cemetery line, George. Sitting at 30,000.
Like to propose a reduction of $5,000 to $25,000.
Okay, so we have a motion to reduce it to 25,000. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All right, any more discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? All right, motion passes. Next would be for town fair.
I'd like to make a motion to reduce that to 1,000.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any more discussion on that? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes.
Can you minimize the bottom screen there?
Maybe.
Thank you.
All right.
So we need a total for activities and fees.
Yeah.
It needs to scroll down a little bit.
We need a motion for $120,435.
I'll make a motion for activities, fees, and associations at $120,435.
Second that.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? All right, motion passes. So we are done on the expense side of the budget. We'll leave revenues and we'll move on to board of ed. All this stuff away then. All right. So, does anybody have any specific questions? You know, I do, and I already apologize that I didn't type them up ahead again. Well, we overlap.
So you start.
Okay. All right. Ready, Ryan?
Yep.
Okay. And I know some of these you might have explained in bad note taking. Tell you right now. On when we go to the first one in Broadbrook. And I looked, are we already over budget this year? you're doing the 2.5. I'm not gonna do the change part of it. But we're almost at the 2.5 already, right? So,
You're saying for the certified salaries?
yeah. I'm just saying, are we okay? I mean, I trust you. I'm just asking.
Yeah, no, we're fine there. Part of that was due to the fact that, when the original budget was made for this year, with the grant allocated, like majority of the grant was allocated to that line, it ended up being spread out over some of the other lines, so we have that into account for this year.
Okay. Page 2, salaries paid to substitute. I know you probably explained this to us, the 102% increase.
What school is that? Is that the middle school?
Page 2 in the munis, so it would be Robert. No, middle school. Middle school.
So, I can speak to that.
Okay.
So, we basically are adding, so we're taking from our, like, our basically, I think was it Ellie subs?
Yeah, Ellie subs is your line.
Ellie subs, yes. Basically, we weren't getting, like, it's a company we use to essentially fill in open vacancies. We're basically not getting the people we need to fill in those vacancies. So I believe we reduced that line by 100,000.
Okay. Are we talking about the middle school subs line?
It's page 2 on my munis.
Yeah, that's cool.
the. Sorry.
Yeah, no, so the middle school subs one, that increase was,
That's one I'm speaking to. Because we decreased district wide by 100, but allocated.
oh, you're saying when you moved it,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
Yep.
so.
I get it though.
So it's a net reduction of 50, but then we basically are putting in a permanent person that we're hiring internally that will be in the building. To cover the day-to-day subs.
Okay. You know.
Just,
You go ahead.
yeah, under special education, salaries paid to teachers. I just put 2 question marks. JC, what does JC stand for? Just for,
Job coach.
oh, okay.
So is that new or is it a recut? Because it's like 0, but it's.
It was reallocated from the tutor line.
Okay.
So they were all classed under tutor previously, so we figured for clarity, we actually call them what they should be.
All right, so if you add up. Only because there's no totals at the bottom. If you add like each one up, so across under the special ed, the salaries paid to teachers. It's a 12.78% increase. Do you get that at the bottom of your? Because there's no subtotals, so you gotta add it up.
Are you talking about our high school special ed teachers?
Page 5.
Yeah, it should be, yeah, it would be under high school special education or.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry, it's special education because it's right. It's the special education section. It looks like it's section 004 special education. And it says 51-101 salaries paid to teachers. So I assume this is the whole special ed. Salary or social workers and salaries, language people and.
Yeah, I don't have them either.
Don't mind.
Yeah, can I? Thank you.
As it's under here too.
Yeah, I can match up the number.
Yeah. Let's see how it,
So which,
this one's a 12.7 or this one's 25, almost 25%. Compare.
Oh, this one, so where it says, are you talking about the totals, or are you talking about like the ones individually highlighted?
I guess probably the individually highlighted would drive this number, right?
Yeah, so I mean, the first one you have highlighted where it says the 674,820. I can tell you there was a teacher that was misclassified at the high school. It was a reading teacher.
and was specified as a general ed teacher, but they serve special ed teachers, as special ed students, so it was basically moved to the correct line, so it's an increase of an entire salary plus salary increases with that one.
So that came out of where?
High school, certified salaries.
Okay.
That's in this section is first, exactly this report, where there's nothing in the curve here, it's just old, it's your old accounts.
So there was, I mean,
So moved.
correct. And then as far as, sorry, he's,
No,
I don't know if that answers entirely your question.
it's probably close because it's, you know, it's gonna go.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you it was a top level salary, so it's
Yep.
approximately 100,000 as far as, that would have been for, that line.
That one, the 25%.
For. I'll let Ryan speak to that, so Ryan, they're asking about, if they look just at salaries for. Tutors. And paras. Based on the math, it looks like it's a 24% increase in salaries.
For special ed.
Yep. I think that's the entire split, sorry. Yeah, it's 3 para lines. Sped tutors and high school tutors. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, I mean, yeah.
Oh. I don't understand.
So you're saying these total up?
Yeah, so see how, yeah, so there's no subtotal, so I subtotal them, so if you look at the difference, it's 25%, so I was just curious. Why?
One for the pair ones, that would be the contractual increases. The tutor ones, we had contractual increase summertime, but then there was also grant offsets that got moved around too, so there's not as many grant offsets in the current year, or I'm sorry, next year. So
Next year
these
in your
got-
budget.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that's, and I think this one was honestly a little bit under budgeted too this year.
Gotcha.
So I think that accounts for
Okay.
part of it, so I hope to answer your question.
Yes, it does, thank you.
Thank you.
Question. So I'm just reading, so the summary here, so we have like some future needs and it's increasing staffing, so is that included within the budget, the future?
So future needs are not
Not
in this,
included.
but
Okay.
this is just saying, like, in the future, these are the
Okay,
things
thank
that
you for
we
the
would like to consider, but they're not in this budget at all.
Do we have any open positions right now?
And so I can tell you, I mean, we're not unique as far as the school system,
Right.
as far as having, vacancies. We've had vacancies all year. Those vacancies changed. I'll say probably at the height, we probably had 12 vacancies. Now, that's not all teachers. That could be like a cafeteria staff, could be a custodian staff. It's across the board. But we've done a really good job as filling, but as soon as we fill, it feels like there's another vacancy or two that continuously opens up. As of today, I'm not sure how many vacancies we have. It's not 12, but we do have vacancies in which we have a need to fill. We have some pair vacancies. I know we have 1 teacher vacancy that comes to mind.
And with the vacancies that we currently have, is that filled through the subline or is it just truly an unfilled position?
It's so the position definitely has a need.
Yeah.
There's someone filling in some cases we're robbing Paul to feed Peter, and like, I mean, a perfect example, like we have a PCBA who provides special ed supports. That person's also dual certified as a special ed teacher. We have an immediate need as a special ed teacher. They've been filling in as a special ed teacher and then putting in extra hours. Which they do a time card and get additional compensation just to keep us afloat as far as meeting those needs, but certainly not it's not meeting like. I mean, we're struggling. I mean, perfect example that we're struggling here, so. I don't know if that helps, but.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Ryan. 52101, I know it's municipal, page 10. CY actuals for dental is 143,756.90, but if you go under budget, there's nothing budgeted. Is it somewhere else? I hope to God.
It goes back into the medical line.
Okay,
So
so
we have it
it's in,
set up now, we're having like the withholding goes a direct offset against medical, so.
so you're saying goodbye to that dental line.
Yeah. We had split it out, then we put it back, it's, so we just.
As
Now
long
that
as
we've
it's gone.
figured it all out, I think it's easier to. put it
Okay.
back.
That works. I just didn't know where it went.
Where are we projecting to this year?
So I'm not really confident in the number quite yet. I'm still working on that. We're waiting for a few numbers from the state. So I hopefully will have that in about a week or so for Board of Finance, so you know that we have all to be able to share that.
One thing that sticks out to me, because is you got a pretty hefty increase figured in the utilities for electric, natural gas, fuel oil. The trend seems to be coming down price wise, but we're going up from what was budgeted. It looks like what was budgeted in the past, like a fair amount. Do you think there's any, did we miss something in prior years, or we?
I mean, I can speak to that a little bit because I know Ryan and I have both spoken about that. I mean, so when we initially put the budget together, it was January, so I think it would be fair to say that those are probably conservative numbers. I know Ryan's done a tremendous amount of like research to see if we get a locked in price. I believe, Joe, you guys do that at the town side, correct?
Your electric bill locked in.
No, I'm talking about water, gas and
No.
oil.
We read the market way cheaper.
Yeah, so I will tell you, as far as our Board of Ed subcommittee, it's on the agenda to discuss as far as should we lock in, because the projections we had seem to be very conservative. But we haven't had those, that meeting internally yet.
So why do you guys, so wait a minute, but you guys are locked in electric?
No, we're not. Oh, we're locked in.
Electric.
Yes, that's okay.
Okay. All right. Are you guys the same?
We have the same rate for electric.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
So did we go up or did we go down? I can't remember.
We went down
Okay.
LED lights.
You did all the LED changeover, right?
We did, it was one of those where, essentially we're paying them, so they did the install, technically no cost, but as we're saving, we offset with what the work was done to change it.
So they're paying back still.
Yeah,
Yep, gotcha.
right.
Yep.
It's,
Is it for-
yeah, because the prior years. Everything's been reclassed.
Right.
So you can come back into this section and that.
Fine.
Any, I guess I'm asking both you and Ryan. So Social Security and FICA line went up 8.9%. Are we in like the same area for our side?
No, ours is it's based on your salary. It's
Right.
7.65% of your salary. So my total is going up.
I'm talking like,
Hold on. My total is going up 5%. For a total of $27,000.
Yeah, now he's trying to.
Yeah, so next year, this section will go away and be on. There you go.
Anybody else have any other questions? Whatever kind of leave off and
I
through.
think we're just gonna.
Okay.
You're in a great spot.
All right.
Which is earlier.
So under health department for the. VBE nurses, it says it went up 25.4%.
Yeah, I mean, that's a, contractual, and then, we have in that line, the. This one. Looking at there, we just, that's who's on that line. I think we're probably a little bit under budgeted for the current year, because I know we're gonna have to look at possibly doing a minor transfer to cover that, but that's the two people we have in there. If you look at the new contractual rate, and based on the correct amount of hours, that was another issue we kind of ran into this year with the nurses, is the way they were plugged into Munis. They didn't have the accurate number of hours, so what was budgeted wasn't necessarily accurate as well. So that's a much closer number to what it should have been.
At the meeting tonight, we talked about the percentage, the amount that was contractual and stuff like that. You answered that question for me. But I still come back, and this is just historical, but I still come back to the fact that in 21, 22, and 2021, those years, approximately $500,000 or more dollars is returned to the towns. This year, we don't know what the numbers could be, but I kind of look back to those 2 years with that $500,000 approximately, give or take a little bit. I don't know the exact number is sitting here today. So, and I look at the increase from, if I take the $500,000 off, we're looking at almost $2.5 million between 2021 to 2022. I just am a little hung up that it seems like we've returned a fair amount of money, and we're asking for, we're still going on. And I know you didn't do the budgets back then, but that's kind of, I guess that's my hang up with looking at the numbers you have for me. I mean, I'm not questioning your numbers, but I still get hung up on the fact that we returned a lot of money for several years.
Yeah, I mean, I can't fully speak to the money that was returned. I mean, I know it's kind of hard to look back at that and figure out exactly what.
And I understand the accounting was a mess back then.
Yeah, I mean, what I can say is, we went through, we've had a number of eyes on this budget. And I mean, this is what we come up with what I think we'll need. So I mean, that's.
Yeah, I mean, just to add, I mean, obviously that's very fair criticism. I mean, the first one, to state that as well. Certainly, I mean, we've stated, we wish we had greater historical data. But we're really, I mean, relying on our operating budget for our historical data, just based on what was done in the past. As far as your question, Bill, as far as like the increases and it's still going on, it's primarily certainly I know health insurance is close to 250,000 as far as the increase. Obviously, we have the salaries. And then I mean, between new student private tuitions, that's almost another 500,000. So those were kind of like the driving factors. If you remove those, I mean, we would almost be a level budget.
I apologize if this was already answered, but the special ed psychologist, what was the reason for the increase there? That's just a big one, and there's no change in MCD.
I believe it was expiring grant. Yeah.
Okay, that would explain it. Okay. Any other questions?
Nicole, you got more?
I'm
not rushing.
Yeah,
Take
no,
your
yeah,
time.
sorry. And I guess, would that be the same thing for the high school special ed paras? Or I guess it could also be contractual. but just-
said, high school.
Yeah, yeah, the high school special ed paras.
So I had notes in here, so those all, when they were plugged into Munis and the job salary module there, they were out on the wrong number of days worked, so we were under budgeted. For the current year,
So that would be up for the middle school and the high school.
yeah.
So where are we? Where did we pull, so you just you're transferring that from another line? For this year, that's for you to cover the,
Setting, I'm sorry.
yeah, so you're saying you're under budgeted, so where's the money coming?
No, I'm saying, so in like the current year, so for FY 23, it looked like we were a bit under budgeted. If we were to carry it over flat, so we ended up on the new one here that they didn't calculate the 10 the paid holidays and then the contractual increase. So I think it's a combination of that, and it just was not properly budgeted for FY 23. So for FY 24, we factored in the extra 10 days and the contractual increase.
Any questions, or are you just kind of?
I'm just thinking, you know, I think
Take your
you can
time.
move on. Nope, I'm good on that. All right.
Whoever has a question next, go. How's that? Cause you're all like. Doing stuff.
Can you tell me how much of this, back to the pairs, how much of that was contractual in your increase and how much of it was because you were not budgeted properly?
It's hard to figure out the not budgeted properly portion yet, because we're still getting through the end of the year right now, so I have assumptions in there for what we're gonna end at.
I think that's just because those two, I mean, those are substantial, right? It's 117,000 on one and 80 on the other, so just curious what was the
It was
contractual.
117 to 80, and then, again, I think a large portion of that was just the wrong number of days. Because that when it was originally generated for the current year, when everything was pulled out of Munis, it didn't have the right number of days and that's wrong cal codes. So I think that's a large portion of it. And then again, you know, you can't really encumber for it. It's an hourly position, so you know, sometimes they make work less, they make work more, and you know, we didn't really have any trends to look at there, so we're kind of going off you know, the projection for this year for that number.
And the other challenge this year too is their contract was out of date. We have it's ratified it, but we still it was just ratified, so we still need to do retro pay even for our current year in that contract as well.
Ouch.
Careful.
Okay.
that's.
All right. Is anyone listening?
I'm just curious, I got one more, I'm just curious what it is. So, on page 10, Ryan, of the munis, there's additional, it's 5,500. Says additional comp bonus / incentives. And then. One goes down 10%, which is BBE PLC, which I don't know. And then, but then East Windsor High School PLC goes up by 26%. What are those, what is this area?
That's the PLC training. It's, so they're stipend positions. So, Broadbrook, I believe we reduced by one. It's essentially like, the old terminology is like the department heads, but they're basically our teacher instructional leaders. They lead a lot of the, building-based instructional and curriculum work. They meet with, the building administrators on a weekly basis. And do a lot of the planning, for instructional curriculum. I know we reduced one at Broadbrook. We think we did.
Oh, for the coming year. Yeah.
And high school, I know we added. And we reallocated it to one. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. That was it. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt that.
Yeah.
I'm good.
I'm gonna make a motion and then I'll discuss here.
To discuss. Okay, go ahead. Yep.
I'm gonna move to approve the Board of Education at 26,496,750 for a 3% increase.
I'll second.
Okay. Hold on. Yeah, okay. Well, any discussion? What's your total again? I told you this way.
26,496,750.
$26,496,750.
26,496,750 is a 3%.
And that's, so how much of the? What's a dollar amount?
About 250,000.
251,616.
Okay, that's about where I was thinking.
Or does it make the increase?
3%.
No, dollar amount.
Oh, the increased dollar amount was,
I think it's just.
770,000.
yeah, 771,750, I think.
If you said, but does it not do your difference?
No, the formula is not set up on this.
Oh, okay. So what'd you tell me? 771?
I think it's 771,750 if I do it right. And it's. Yeah, I come back to the money, this big dollars that we returned for years. I understand that they've done strides in reducing bus routes and really reorganizing the budget that a lot more accurate than they've been in the past for us. And I also, in the back of my mind, know we still got 4%, 2% funds sitting out there that has more money in it than I just cut from the budget, that if we do use it, and money gets returned, or I'm willing to bring that fund back, replace money that gets taken out of that when the first opportunity was in.
Any other discussion?
That's my reasoning behind the number I proposed.
Any other discussion?
I was kind of looking at 2%. I was thinking 2%. We cut it basically in half. But that's just my stuff. And I kind of go back to the same thing that goes, I mean, every year it's over 500,000 that gets returned. Let's narrow that down a little bit.
Yeah, I'm feeling more in line with Bill. That's kind of what I had written down as well. I just, I definitely also hear you, Tom, too. I think I do truly feel that we're in a better place than we've ever been. I don't feel that we have enough data for comparison, but I also am not feeling like we're going to be in a position where there's money that we don't know is there. I feel like Ryan seems to have a better handle on the budget, and if they get to, I feel like it'll get spent. I'd also just listening to some of our townspeople as well, like I know there was a couple of comments about, the Board of Ed and wanting to see, them have an increase in their budget, so I'd rather not go down to 2% the first round, which is my thought.
Well, I agree that things are much better than they've ever been. I just think we still don't. And it's not your fault, Ryan, at all, because you're like dredging through the mud and trying to dig your way out. I think still the beginning figures, where we start and where we end, we just don't have the right picture still. So that's my opinion.
Bill, what was your percentage increase?
It's 3%.
3%.
$771.
My initial thought was to take out what was the overage and then kind of thinking that through and then looking at what Bill's numbers are. I mean, I'm a little bit. I think mine was a little bit lower of a percentage, but I don't know if I necessarily would go as low as what Tom is suggesting. Because I do want to account for the fact of, these potential increases that could happen through contractual. So I don't want the salaries to take a hit on the rest of the budget. But so that's kind of where I'm at.
And I truly feel like if you're in a good place and you're budgeting and you know where you're at, I mean, you can buy pre-purchase supplies, like that's something that you could do. We need supplies, like I don't question that there would be a need for something like that if that did come up. My bigger concern last year was that there was money that we had that no one knew, like we just didn't know that it was there, right? And I don't feel like we're gonna be back in that situation again.
Okay, so what I would say, any other discussion? Okay, so I say take a vote on it, and all those in favor of Bill's motion, 3%. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye.
No.
All right, so that motion passes right now. So. Yeah, we still have to do revenue.
Well, you
Well,
have
you still have to do the rest of the.
Yep, and the rest.
Was that 2.6?
26496,750.
So is that not working?
No, he said the formula didn't work. But does that mean it's not working? Like, is it changing?
Because if it
In
doesn't
the
work to
revenue
the bottom, it doesn't help.
No, I mean, I could probably, we could all take a roll of the dice that I can fix this, or we could make way you can.
I say we take a 2-minute break and let Amy fix it.
I take no offense to that.
No. Go fix it, Amy. Do you? All right, so we are now on
debt service.
debt service. Good night. I've gone down, that's a good night. Debt service.
Some of the debt service, nothing from debt service to CIP, thing to preserve our longer term bonding capacity while also utilizing it to take care of some of the shorter term needs on the CIP list.
So can I have a motion on debt service?
I move debt service at 928,133.
Second, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. All right, capital improvement, where they move the money so that we
I
can
move
go.
capital improvement at $1,888,000.
Wait.
1,100,000.
188, not 888.
Oh, sorry, $1,188,000.
Is there a second?
That's right, Joe. I didn't want that.
I know you got me.
Is there a second? I seconded it. Any discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, employee benefits, which hurts. But.
And
is
that
there a
one
motion?
needs to be fixed.
Oh, Lord.
We talked about this. My medical has to go up like $22,000 because we have a family coming on of a current employee.
So it's 1,705,200, right?
Yep.
So I'll move we change health and life insurance to $1,705,200.
Jay, could you put the spreadsheet back up?
Is there?
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought it was a.
Sorry, thank you, Alan. Is there a second? Second. Any more discussion on that?
What was the number again?
1,705,200.
Thank you.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. Now we need to pass the
I just
total
need to see
line.
that number. It's, these West can't read. 3697874. 874. So I'll move we approve employee benefits at 3,687 or 97,874.
I'll second.
All right, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Contingency,
I need my non-negotiated wages, please. I already found the money.
until Amy just put that 22 in there, she just took it from you.
No, she's gonna find her own.
So let me, I can ask a question before we start.
I'm not working for you
When the,
anymore.
when the clerical contract, if it, what you're saying is gonna be approved possibly before this, would that money be taken from this and just moved to the other lines before we approve them, to the final, when it goes, it's not gonna change the number, you're just gonna move the line, so he's not doing a bunch of work later, right?
Oh, I don't know, can we do that? Once they pass it, as long as, no, right?
No, because I don't
It
know
has
when.
to go, if you pass it tonight, it has to go the way it is, and I will have to do a reclass.
All right, I mean, the money's in it.
And I don't even know that it's gonna be voted on by my board on the 20th yet.
Okay.
I know they're voting that week, but I don't know if they're gonna pass it and I don't know what day they're voting.
And how much did you need in there?
He wants it to be, 230,000. From 228.
George, where's your number?
Oh, well, how much are we up?
That page.
They're up 24,564 from the original. I was keeping track.
So. I'm gonna be change non-negotiated wages to $230,000.
Second discussion?
Right. Oh,
No, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
listen,
Motion
I looked at it
passes.
and he.
And I
That's
see.
all week.
And we need the total contingency.
So I'm moving for contingency at $280,000.
Second
Second.
discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Already.
Motion passes.
Gives us a total.
Wow, $1.6 million off the original ask. Want to see the other sheet? Yeah.
All right, 0.10.
The only thing I'd like to do here, in my opinion, we can all say no, we can say yes. Is I'd like to see this at 0, and I'd like to reduce that proposed transfer from the fund balance down. Because I just think that's gonna come back and haunt us very shortly.
So we're about to get a $1.8 million building permit fee.
Yeah.
This month. That's going into the general fund.
If we're gonna do it this year, we can do it. You're gonna have a rebound next year. You're gonna have hurting people. Hey, I'm fine with 1. I was up to fight for the 750, so I knew I'd have to fight for the 1.2. But if I go by Amy's temperature and she's completely fine with it. No, well, I should say that, but she's not cringing, and it's unlike her. And if we're gonna get that building permit fee, we're gonna end up back up there again. And honestly, I'm not gonna lie, people. we gotta get tighter with these budgets and stop returning so much money on each end. So that's the only way we can get back to the taxpayer. That's the only way we can do it. So I am opposed to reducing that. It's about time the taxpayer got something back. Just saying.
I just threw it out, it wasn't a motion, I just threw it out there. Just-
I-
I think I was approved with the samurai sword, cut my head off. A lot is you tonight.
Hey, Bill, yes, returning it.
It's, you know, it's fine. I just, like I said, I don't want to get caught a few years down the road having to say, guess what, we can't do this anymore, and that's a big number.
Well, you are gonna get caught there someday,
Mhm.
but how many times have we used it?
One of the years, definitely.
Yeah. Not the whole
Where
thing.
revenue didn't come in as much as.
Yeah, but it wasn't
Got
the
it,
whole
like-
thing. So.
I mean, I'm good not, but I said, that's just my opinion of
Mhm.
using that.
Jay, what was the number, 1.8?
It's gonna be, we don't have the real number yet, but it's gonna be about $1.8 million.
Okay.
And we will have to return the extra in the debt service again this year. That's part of our return. And you'll see it, we do an analysis that shows you exactly what we're
Right.
returning. But I don't want to give up the debt capacity. I was okay doing it to capital because that's a one-time thing, like if we have to go back to the 988 next year.
Right, exactly.
To get my debt so that I can pay the bonds we issue on whatever project we issue them for.
Yep.
And we've got roofs coming, there's other things that need to happen. So, but as long as we're not using it, I don't want to cut it, because if I cut it, then we don't have it. So I guess I'd rather return it through giving them back out of the fund balance than cut it and then not have it when I need it. And it's coming. I mean, we know we have a
Right.
roof that needs to be done.
Yep.
We just have to get through those processes. We have to get the engineering done. We have to get the state approval. So,
That's not the only roof we need to do. Well, our point being is that we have some large bonded projects that we know we need to do.
that's coming back. It's not staying away.
Right. We will have plenty more debt again. Unfortunately, or fortunately, because we're not good without that. No. Any other questions on the revenues? Anybody else?
The state numbers are all the state numbers.
We did have a little scare, the state's portion of pilot. The initial numbers came out and we were getting butchered there. But
To the tune of $450,000 less.
yeah, the two biggest, I think by percentage reductions in the state were Center and Southwinter. And we worked with OPM to get them to acknowledge that their submission to the legislature had a formula error in it, and they corrected it.
I think we have to have that shall question, right? I don't think I brought it.
The what?
Shall the Board of Finance approve the question you're gonna ask them about?
Oh, yeah, we gotta say it right.
Jay, do you happen to have the question?
I don't think I ever had that question. Is it on your mailer?
Yeah. I don't have one. Didn't get that far.
I think it's
Okay.
the budget number and a mill rate number, if I'm not mistaken. Where it is.
Yeah. I think so.
I have an old mailer here.
Oh, he's got it.
Okay.
Look at the box.
Oh, he's looking at on state things. Oh, no. I wanna go back.
I'm glad.
I just wanna go further down. The bottom line, very bottom line.
Well, that truly is the very bottom line.
No, I know,
The one below that,
the
right?
one below that.
Oh, it's just the grand list.
You want the new mill rate. right?
Oh,
Yes.
30. I wrote it down
The
right.
bottom, look,
34.28, it's going down 0.10 mils. And the total was 44,278, 939,
44, 278,
939,
930.
which is a 3.31% increase. And the mill rate is actually going down by 0.10 to 34.28.
I thought I saw it negative there.
So it's, shall the FY 23-24 annual budget of blank proposed by the Board of Finance for the town of East Windsor, be approved? That's the total.
You don't have to put the mill rate in.
No, because
You guys actually set the mill rate after the
Oh,
budget
yeah,
passes.
okay.
you need to set the mill rate in your motion whenever
Yeah.
the budget passes.
Okay. So,
We don't
Say
have
that
to
one
pass the
time.
revenue, right? We don't have to make a motion for the revenue, right?
No, unless you were changing something. in it.
Yeah, we didn't change anything.
shall the,
Yeah, I gotta figure out what program I'm gonna close.
I'm sorry.
Shall the fiscal year 23-24 budget
Yeah, that's it. Okay.
of 44,278,939 be approved?
Yeah, shall the FY 23-24 annual budget of blank proposed by the Board of Finance for the town of East Windsor be approved?
So I move that shall the 2024 budget of $44,278,939 for the town, approved by the Board of Finance for the town of East Windsor be approved.
There a second.
Second.
Or someone can.
George was first.
Oh, there you go.
I was loud.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes. That's it for now.
No, Robert.
Oh, yeah.
Fire department. We're done.
That's seven. See that, so you'll, never mind. Stay quiet.
I just had that argument back here.
Oh. Yeah. So you're increasing 3.13%.
Well, if you're talking about spending increase. Only, but you also have to consider that we had a grand list growth increase of 2.75%. And we just used a lot more revenue than we have historically, so.
I don't even know.
Your number is
I'm lost.
970,066.
Here, increase 13.
So can we amend the motion to do town versus? Now that the next one's gonna say annual budget for Bradford Fire, or do you, does not matter, you think on our side?
Fire department, it's the motion will say fire department, so it'll be.
It's the town of East Windsor Broadbrook Fire Department.
Yeah.
It's the. So how about for minute purposes, it's town of East Windsor dash Broadbrook Fire Department. Oh, I can make that bigger, sorry.
May you make a motion?
Yeah.
We just motion this one to approve their budget.
Or to make any changes.
I don't. I'll make a motion to approve the Rockland Fire Department budget at $970,000 sorry, $970,066.
Yeah, we need the, show the fiscal 23-24 annual budget for the town of East Windsor Bradford Fire Department. Budget of 970,066.
We should probably do it both ways.
Right, I think we have to approve the dollar amount.
Go with the first motion to approve the dollar amount, then we'll do the budget.
Okay. I made the motion.
Oh, I'll second it.
Is there a second?
I'll
We
second
finish
it.
the dollar amount, okay. Any discussion?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a lot of money, and it probably is, but it's still cheaper than a full-time fire department. By a lot.
I mean, and there's no doubt that they've been busy, unfortunately.
Still a lot of money.
Just remember, your little 3.13 is now increased
You're asking the taxpayer for 3.13 and you're asking for the Broadbrook Fire. I'm not telling you to go down, I'm just saying. We didn't do enough on our other side, but that's okay.
So.
All right, so.
But hold on a second, on that point, the 1.33% is on a very small number in contrast to the budget.
Correct. Correct.
Spreadsheet.
Mhm. Here's the verbiage for it though. Written down.
If we pass this motion, I can begin.
Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor?
I think.
Opposed? Motion passes. So now you gotta do it with that.
Move the referendum, shall the Eastman, Broadbrook Fire Department for the town of East Windsor for the fiscal year 23-24 budget of $970,066 be approved.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes.
Who was my first and second on that? Bill made it.
Yeah.
I don't know, we had a lot of unison ones lately. She was trying to figure out who was up. All right, I think we're done.
Other than our mailer,
So,
I guess we need to think about how we're gonna get that accomplished. Because it has to go to the printer pretty close to the same day you guys will next meet.
Who's the printer you use? Do you use CCI?
Nope. The guy here, Ally,
so. I mean, it's pretty much gonna be. The exact thing as last year with the changes, right? I mean. Each has to do. I can't remember, was there much of a narrative on the mailer? I mean.
just the front page, and a couple graphs, like the grand list growth is one of the graphs.
Do we have the, or that do anything and Jason do anything, or do we just, I can't remember, do we just
No.
put out the numbers?
It's your guys' memo
Okay,
with the graph, and then inside, one page is revenue, one page is expenditure, and the back side is when to vote. Like the referendum date, which will be May 9th. Questions,
okay.
and then the part that mails it to their houses.
So you need it to go to the printer before we meet?
All at the same time. It has to be about, and it's usually like the 22nd of April, and I think we meet the 20th. Or the 19th, so we're meeting pretty close to when it has to be done, so.
Yeah.
I could draft it for you and then we could do it at that meeting.
Yeah, we'll just do it then.
Okay.
Sounds like.
We need to go sooner, can you just email it to us and then can we just post a special quick Zoom meeting?
Oh, yeah, we could. Yeah.
Just if you email it, and post a Zoom meeting, and the last 5 minutes we approve it or disapprove it or make any corrections, if you have to go sooner.
Okay,
that'd be-
I'll let you know when I talk to Phil.
All right. Well, oh, well, any board member comments? I mean, we've been talking all
We've
day.
been talking all night.
Exactly. All right, motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Oh, second. All those in favor?
Hi.
You're missing that way going like this. Let's go. All right, motion passes. Dr. Tudor, quick question. Does
Last
this
time, last year.
compete?